Showtime, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shogun Zorra and thank you for tuning in. And yes, I wanted to first, of course, apologize. It's been over 3 weeks since I have uploaded the last video. I wanted to say I'm sorry, and I should have made a lot of videos throughout the 3 weeks, but I didn't fit well and also became kind of lazy, and I'm really sorry. I'm trying really my best to do more videos, and I lost, I think, throughout almost 20 subscribers. That's hard. That's hard for me. 20 subscribers might not be a lot for other people, but for me it's important because I have only a small channel. So yes, but please stay with me and continue on watching all my videos. So yeah, so as you can see in the title, I'm talking about live action animes. And of course, live action had really bad reputation in the past. Of course, example like Dragon Ball, Death Note, and Avatar. I know Avatar is not really an anime, but we still call it live action based off an animated series. One of the problems that live action make that it's really problematic is they're trying to do their own thing but they're trying to do their own thing, and sometimes it doesn't really work. The best example, Dragon Ball. It's really way different. It's not really Dragon Ball anymore. Of course, they have some of the characters' names and few things that's from Dragon Ball, but it's completely different. It's not really Dragon Ball anymore. You get what I mean, right? Also, I feel like live action try to put a lot of the story, try to make everything sense in a small little bit of time, like 1 hour 30 minutes. They cannot really put everything from an anime that has many episodes in there, so it doesn't really work out. But yeah, I want to talk about the animes that I think have best potential to be have a great live action adaptation. But there's a few things I want to say about it. The thing is, we can never expect live action to be one-to-one to the manga or the anime. Even animes cannot really sometimes adapt the manga perfectly, and even video games, so you cannot really expect this from live action to what's, I think personally, way harder than to adapt a manga to an anime. Also, secondly, I think for a live action to be really good, I think personally they need to, instead of doing only movies, they also do like a series. Like nowadays a lot of series, like live action series, are 1 hour long, like 45 minutes. So I think if some of the animes would be 45 or 60 minutes, it would be much better, and they could instead of a movie, it would be much better, so they can include way more from the anime into this live action adaptation. Also, like if an anime would be, if like the live action series would be 1 hour, they could put in the episode almost two episodes of a normal anime, or like almost 2.5. So we would get a lot more we would get a lot of information from the anime already there. So I think in the series, like 1 hour series, like the 45 to 60 minute series, would be much better. So yeah, of course we had also in the past good live action series based off the anime. I would say not most perfect, but it's really good and still enjoyable. For example, Battle Angel Alita, Bleach, and Detective Pikachu. So yeah, I'm going to now to introduce you to my anime that I think have personally the best potential to be able to be a great live action adaptation. Of course, it can always mess up, but I think these are the shows where I think if you have the right person, they can do it great. So let's get started. The first anime that I have in mind is Violet Evergarden. I know maybe some people will disagree with me directly, but I think Violet Evergarden is a really beautiful show. It's you could say it's a masterpiece, right? I think it's like Violet Evergarden, from the setting and the characters, is not way different from the past. It's like, it sort of feels like almost like European-ish era, like a European setting. It would fit well with the characters, and of course we have some action scenes in the anime, but I think it's only for few episodes, and that's not as intense compared to a battle shonen anime. And I think this anime personally would perfectly fit well if the anime was like 45 minutes, because they could sometimes extend to on few episodes, and if the anime is like 1 hour long, they could maybe in the beginning of Violet Evergarden, where Violet starts to learn how to write letters. In the first 2 episodes, if the anime has 45 minutes, I think in the first 3 episodes they could fit everything in, and then from there on we get each episode, focus episode from Violet Evergarden. I think it will fits perfectly in, and Violet Evergarden would be a really good series, because it's not like a really action based, even though we have action there, but I think the interaction with the characters and live action, like, it's not like supernatural, not really supernatural. We have just characters talking different situations with their struggles, and Violet is there to help them to deliver the feelings they have in letters. And this will be really beautiful. Like, we can have a lot of different. I can also imagine this as a movie, Violet Evergarden, but as a bit of their own thing, but it's not that bad. But I think Violet Evergarden would be a beautiful live action with. It had like 5 episodes, 5, 6, 7. So 7 episodes would be really good. The second anime that I think has a great live action adaptation would be great live action anime would be Kumisan Can Communicate. Kumisan Can Communicate already gets a live action adaptation on this September 6th, and also the anime is coming out. So it will be interesting, because there are some cases that has happened in Japan that they did a live action based off a novel before an anime came out, so, or manga before it came out. So, like example, Kumisan Can Communicate. One of the reasons why I think Kumisan Can Communicate would fit well is it's in Japan. It's not the anime. It doesn't require a lot. We have just the characters in the school, and also the school is not really special. Just a normal Japanese school with Komi-san, just a living here experience. And also they would adapt the live action would be more directly based on the manga itself, not compared to the anime. So they're going to adapt the direct source of it. Like I said, the setting is not that big. It's just a school with the characters. So I think they can perfectly do it fine. And also, one thing that I think it would be more as a movie is getting a movie adaptation. They can fit a lot more things in the movie, because the chapters of Kumisan Can Communicate is only like very short, only like roughly 10 pages of the manga. So I think they could fit a lot, and also skip few things. Of course they cannot. Kumisan Can Communicate has already 300 chapters. Of course they cannot adapt 300 chapters in one movie. That's not possible. But I think the beginning of the Kumisan Can Communicate, like, I don't know, around 20 chapters I would think they could adapt. I don't know how they're going to do it. It would be a lot. A series would be much better, but I don't think this is what they're going to do in Japan. But like a movie with like Kumisan Can Communicate would be a really good opportunity of a live slice action series. I think personally, slice of life series, drama series are much better to get adapted compared to Battle Shonen, because Battle Shonen is way harder. The next series I personally think fits the best series with like 1 hour episode anime would be Astra Lost in Space. I personally think Astra Lost in Space has to be one of the best anime that the anime has only 12 episodes, and it's so perfectly well rounded with a good character cast, great world building, surprisingly wow, and exploration, adventures, and plot twists and stuff. It's so good. And I think with the other animes, I think if Violet Evergarden if it was adapted by an European director, I think it would fit well in Europe. It would think like I don't know where, like France sort of, you know what I mean. And also Kumisan Can Communicate, of course, in Japan, it fits perfectly in Japan. It would only perfectly work well in Japan. Then but Astra Lost in Space, I think it would be great if like I can foresee that an American director will want to do a live action of it, because Astra Lost in Space, the thing is, even the first and last episode of Astra Lost in Space are sort of 45 minutes long, so it would fit perfectly. I think it fits perfectly with like what I said with if each episode was 45 minutes. I think, like I said, the characters are really great, really great. The space theme, like the setting of the series, like we go from where the characters are from home, are going to in space and then explore different things. it's really amazing. So I think the space theme, adventure theme, as a live action adaptation of a series would be good, because I don't think we have like a live action series. Of course, we have Star Wars and other series that are movies, but Star Trek. But I think like an action 8 episodes. I think 8 episodes would fit well, because each other episodes are 24 minutes long. But if they explore like the settings of different planets, like adventures, and try to survive, of course, I think it would fit perfectly. And also the characters and mysteries would also, like I said, fit perfectly in my opinion. Also, like the exploration of different planets that can extend from the anime way more, a bit more, and hopefully also get a bit more of character interaction. Also, of course, for the live action work, I think the director will also need to talk to the manga of Outer Lost in Space, so it would work much better if we can ask if this would work. And yes, I think Outer Lost in Space has to be potentially one of the best live action adaptations of an American audience. Of course, the characters with colored hairs, that would personally not work. I don't think they would extra change it for the anime itself. But even if they don't have the color hair, even though as a fan, it would be great. But if they didn't, it would be just still fine, I think. The next anime is The Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland, I've heard, is already getting a live action adaptation, but I think because of the dark nature of The Promised Neverland, I think it would fit also really directly, because I don't think we haven't seen like this a dark series of The Promised Neverland be integrated that well. Also, technically, it could not really fit as a movie. Never mind. As a series, it would fit well, and also I don't think it would be hard, because it's just a big house with a lot of kids in nothing, like sort of in like a lot of grass and around it, everything in a big wall. I think only the kids would be a little bit hard to I think to work with kids, of course, harder to work with adults, but I don't think it would be that crazy. If a live action adaptation would happen as a series, I think it would fit well with the mystery season. Of course, the first episode gets everybody hooked and all the mysteries around it. Of course, probably the monsters won't look really good because of CGI, but yeah, you know. But I think like because of the characters with the great, even though Promised Neverland has a lot of problems, the anime itself, because the second season was not that good, and also the manga itself is of course better than the anime, but was not the best. But of course, the live action adaptation that's come out, I don't know what they're going to do with it, if there's going to be a movie or a series, but they could just, Promised Neverland I think is also one of the series that's really good to adapt. I think personally next week I will do a video about live action series that's way too hard to adapt. Personally, I could list almost all animes, but fair enough. But I think Promised Neverland has potential to be good. Of course, everybody, the director, the person who makes it, can always screw this up, but I think, like I said, Promised Neverland would work well. Next series we have Death Note. Okay, I know, technically last year I want to introduce Death Note. I know we had already had a live action adaptation. We have multiple of them. In Japan we have multiple live action adaptations. In America, Netflix made a live action adaptation of Death Note. The thing is with Death Note, the problem was they tried to do their own thing. Death Note would be so good as like an anime with 1 hour episodes, where each episode is 1 hour. I don't know why they try to do their own thing. And even let's say if Death Note was not based in Japan, if it was based in America, I think it would still work out, even if we have the same characters. Okay, because in America they had to technically change the names and everything, but it still would work, I think personally, if they would Americanize it. I know this would be a big problem, because many people think, of course, because it's in Japan, it should be based in Japan, but I don't think it would be as bad if it was Americanized. Of course, the names and everything would be different, but if they kept the story the same, but it's only in America, it would be still great. Everybody would still like it, and it would be one of the best series. Also, to add that, there's a lot of mystery, because the first episode gets everybody hooked, how Light is killing these people with this power that he has. But now, of course, I really would like to see another adaptation of Death Note, but because of how bad it turned out, that's why we have the Netflix adaptation. It's bad. But of course, I think live action can be made from anime a good one, but we have to do it. They have to do it just correctly. Sometimes it would work out if they do their own thing, but still it's the same thing as the anime manga what it's based off. So yeah, these are the animes that I think have personally great potential to be a live action series, a movie or a series. So please comment section down below which anime do you think has really great potential to be a live action adaptation. Of course there's a lot, but I think live action can be done well even for super action battle shonen series. Example, many people would say about the cosplays, and I don't think the cosplay would be that big of a problem. Example, for One Piece, if you look at the live action stages that Japan does, example, these characters look really good, identical to their counterpart, especially Zorra. It's surprising how good he looks. Also for one example, for My Hero Academia live stage, if you see like All Might looks also really good. Just it depends on who's going to do it and how much money they spend on it, and yes. But I think, like I said, these animes that I introduced have the best potential to get in a live action adaptation. If you think so also, please comment section down below which anime series do you think has the potential. And yeah, please stay tuned for another video that's coming out soon. Like I said, let your light shine bright. If you enjoyed this video, please punch the like button and share it to all your friends. Let your light shine bright. Hope you have a nice day, and don't forget life is Showtime. Peace.